So wrestling used to be like a sideshow at circuses, but it became pretty big. People would gather in large crowds to see it, and so around the United States specifically, there were a lot of wrestling territories that developed, like places where it would be one company, like one guy running a wrestling company, and it all got organized under something called the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. Okay, so the National Wrestling Alliance, not those, was like not. Don't worry about it. Don't make me lose my train of thought. So basically, long story short, Vince McMahon. The Vince McMahon everybody knows, the one that got into trouble last year, his dad was running the New York territory. Vince inherited it when his father died. And essentially what he started doing was buying up the TV spots in all the territories around the country. He wanted to get a monopoly on wrestling. But basically the main stalwart that didn't refuse to get bought out by Vince McMahon and still competed with them and still was on like a large scale was Jim Crockett Promotions, which became World Championship Wrestling, WCW. Cody Rhodes, his dad, Dusty Rhodes, was basically the main eventer, the biggest guy in this promotion. He was like the head good guy, like what John Cena was like when we were kids, right? He was like that John Cena of Southern Pro Wrestling. And so essentially what happened is he got booted out of the promotion. His dad ended up in WWE, but they embarrassed him. They gave him a gimmick that was made to like poke fun at him, make fun of his weight, like they messed around with him. So again, long story short, fast forwarding to when Cody Rhodes comes in. Cody Rhodes comes into the WWE. Cody Rhodes comes into the WWE, right? And he's the son of Dusty Rhodes. He ends up in this tag team called the Legacies in a faction with Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase Jr., son of two like wrestling legends, okay? And Cody Rhodes after that becomes like a mid-card, right? He's like the Intercontinental Champion for a while. He has like some cool characters, like he's like, it's about him being good looking because the women's wrestlers voted him as the most attractive guy in the locker room. He became like a vanity heel, which heel means bad guy. And then so then where am I going now? Then he became like, Rey Mysterio broke his nose and he became like broken Cody Rhodes. He wore like a face mask and he was like, it was like Two-Face. He was like hiding his face from people and he was like an evil villain, like the Phantom of the Opera. And then he just kind of, he faded into this character called Stardust, which is based off of his brother Goldust. And it's like, again, like based off of that whole beef with Dusty Rhodes, made to pretty much embarrass him. And eventually Cody Rhodes wasn't happy with that character. They weren't letting him do what he wanted. He didn't renew his contract in 2016, went on the independents, became one of the biggest guys in like pro wrestling in Japan, like the other promotions in the United States, everything like that. And eventually he was dared by this like pro wrestling reviewer, like a writer, to sell out an arena with 10,000 people, and he did it. He organized a bunch of wrestlers, organized a huge event, and I think it was, I don't remember if the first one was in Chicago or New York City, but it was called All In, right? And they were just going all in, and the event like sold out. It was crazy, it broke records, amazing. So from that, this guy Tony Khan, super rich, his dad like owns the Jaguars. He's a big pro wrestling fan, and Cody Rhodes got into contact with him, and basically him and a couple other pro wrestlers started this rival wrestling company. Like the first rival to WWE since WCW, their past rival, closed down such a long time ago. There's another one, TNA. We don't talk about it. Wasn't really ever close. But AEW was the first thing that was close. It was on TV. It had a huge deal. TNT Network, all that stuff. And Cody Rhodes was like the head guy. He was the face of the company. But eventually, the crowd kind of turned on him. He became like Homelander in that company. It was crazy. He had like a semi-good guy but bad guy persona. And so then he left. They didn't give him enough money, or they didn't agree, or whatever with the contract, and they were renewing it for AEW, the company he basically started, and was the head star, like the face of, for the first like 2 years of the company. He left, and he came back at WrestleMania to WWE, and so it's like the story. He never won the world title. He never won the world title that his dad never won. And he was exiled from the company. He was never given a shot. And he went down on the independents, proved by making a new, like, strong company, a rival to WWE. That's how, like, much of a star he was. That's how high he could fly without them. And he came back as this returning hero. And he won the Royal Rumble, and he was going to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and he did. But he got screwed over, and he lost. And so now the whole story is, where is Cody Rhodes? What is his story? And it's kind of leading back to, he's going to win a world title. What's he going to do? Where are his feuds? There's a story, and that's explaining pro wrestling and Cody Rhodes in a synopsis.